Hi, everybody. I'm Ronnie.
Hi, and I'm Jenny, and we are
We are the
the
Heart and
Heart
Soul
Soul
Sisters. Yeah, no,
Sisters.
didn't work. I tell you, you can't do it. You can't just point at me and think it's going to work. The delay is there, honey.
Oh, bummer.
There are people listen to us going, damn, over 20 episodes and they're still trying. What is wrong with them?
It's because I am the forever optimist.
I know, you're the one. You keep trying to do it.
I'm the one.
I'm telling you, you can't. Oh, Lordy. So this episode is going to wrap up our first season. And
Yes. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so that's very exciting. So we thought we would reflect a little bit on what it's meant to podcast and maybe some of the changes in our lives and what we're looking forward to between now and the next season. You wanna take it away? You have
Oh
fun?
yeah.
All right.
This has been one of those things that you do because in theory it's like this is gonna, I want to take this pain and I want to turn it into something really great that helps bless other people and make a difference in other people's lives. And then when you hit that button and put that first podcast out there, you go, oh my gosh, can I get that back?
Let's reel it in, reel it in.
Thinking.
Right.
But fortunately, we only have about maybe 7 listeners.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just
If
like
that
Cliff and
many.
Clack.
It's like
And 6 of them are family members.
yeah, or more,
Right, or more.
depending. There's sort of my family's still kind of catching up. There's been a little bit of delayed listening, which has stirred up all kinds of crap for me. My lessons of the same lessons we're all working on, right? Are we lovable? Are we worthy? Are we good enough? And are we supported?
Yes.
Feeling safe, feeling supported. And it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. We've had quite a bit of technical difficulties.
Oh my
I,
God.
I don't know if we mentioned each podcast that we had to redo, but I think we tried to be transparent.
No, no, I don't think we,
Unfortunately,
no, I don't think we were actually. I don't think we
did
ever
we,
said this
did
is
we not?
the third time we're recording this podcast.
Oh my gosh,
And it was
yeah.
it was mostly it was the connectivity. It was the internet. We'd get garbled sound. We weren't realizing we would get the picture would be terrible. It would look good as we were recording it, but then it would download or upload we tried many different platforms to try to make it happen.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, yeah.
try to solve these problems. And yeah, that's my kryptonite. Something that I think I should have control over that I can't. Like I can't make it work. The
Yeah.
joke in my household because my husband's very technologically savvy, as you well know, and so
Oh yeah.
he does all things tech for me. And I've tried to learn over the years and be self sufficient, but I'm just nowhere near where he is. And his
Okay.
running joke is step away from the computer, put the hammer down,
Yep.
because
Yep.
that's me.
That's
So
right.
so it's really tested my zen to be
Yeah.
using, and we kept changing the platforms. We were trying to get something that would work better. And of course, then you got to learn it all over again. It's not working the way the last one did. And so there've been a lot of challenges behind the scenes that has led to, I'm hoping some growth. I don't know. The jury's still out, but
Earphone
so that,
malfunctions, microphone malfunctions. I don't know how many sets of earphones I have.
yeah, yeah, we've recorded podcasts just to find that somehow your sound wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's all over. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. And so now we test, you know,
And still,
repeatedly, and yeah, still
it's,
we have issues. We just have to walk away. We've had times we spent an hour and a half trying to get going, and we just have to walk away. We can't take it anymore. We're no longer in the place where we have something worthwhile to offer the world. You have
yes.
to take a step back. So there's
Definitely. Go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say, so there've been those kinds of challenges
Yeah.
that, especially when we're when we really are trying to send a message of love and hope and light, to be experiencing those frustrations is just nuts. So it's been schizophrenic in that way. We sometimes it'll take us forever to get the sound right, and then it's like, okay, now we got to stop and meditate for a few minutes because we are in no
It's like,
No
okay,
space to be
camera
doing
for
this.
energy management. We do a brief meditation before we start every podcast, so we're in the right place, a place of love, and we want this to be for the greater and highest good of all souls involved, anyone that hears this,
Right.
and to assist with healing. And so that's our intention. We're kind of setting out as we begin, and then sometimes it just all goes to so we have to start over. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really interesting because we really did a lot of diving into this in our earlier years,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
25 years ago.
Right.
And it's really been pretty eye-opening. At times we've had some new revelations as we've revisited things.
Yes.
We've talked about them more. And as my husband's been listening to some of our podcasts this last week, he's come home and said, wow, I don't, I heard this new perspective listening to this podcast that because he's lived this with me, right?
Right.
As Jim with you. And he said, that was a new perspective that he said that I wasn't aware of, or I hadn't heard that story, or so it's been, and it's interesting because some of the things that we've shared, he said, boy, that's really helping me, what you guys said in this, with what I'm going through right now with work, so it's
Interesting.
yeah, some of the just some little pieces of things that we've shared. And so that's really what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it's just like I've talked for years about writing a book, mainly for my children, just to help them understand what makes me tick, because this has affected me on every level of my being, and every aspect of my life, as a mother, as a wife, as a, why I went into a helping profession. And even now, as much as you and I have both done work on healing, like we've talked about those layers of the onion, peeling another layer away, there's always more. It seems like, there's always another layer, another level. And so, as we've been going through the podcasting this first season and now working on our book, it's really been just amazing to find new revelations, new insights, and to be able to look at ourselves and our flawed vessel, right? All of who we are, and still say, you're okay. You're still deserve, more love, not less, right? As Matt Kahn says.
Yes.
And to realize that, you can look at yourself and you can look at your past and let go of the shame. That's probably the biggest thing. That's just huge, really is huge.
Yeah, it is.
And to be able to talk about this openly and honestly with my children, so that they can take it and run with it, and do an even just be an even better parent, an even better, person, because some of this trickle down intergenerational trauma, of course, affected them, but they can have a much better starting point to spring, into being the people they want to be, and being the best version of themselves.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. We built a really, really strong sieve, but we didn't build a steel wall, right? I mean, so stuff came down, but I remember, we took some time and went to one of our favorite places, and we sat down and had conversations that are going to be the basis of the book, like we do in the podcast, and like we've had for years, conversations about our lives and what happened to us and sharing stories and so on. And one of the things I'll remember most from that time that we shared together is a point where we were talking about what you were just saying about how we tried to keep we tried to keep as much as we could from sifting down to the kids. But of course, my daughter was 6 when we broke contact, which means there was some stuff that happened even before that, and my
Sure.
attempts to try to be a better parent as we went on, she felt that and she noticed that, but she still, I was still right in the thick of it in her early years. And um, I always
Yeah.
wished that I had more healing under my belt before I began the parenting enterprise. But I was talking to you, and I think we had just finished recording what we thought would be the heart of one chapter in the book, and we were talking about this, about trying to do better for our kids. And I said to you, I said, watching my daughter with my grandson, who is now 19 months old, I said, it is so joyful because I watch her being such a conscious parent. And she talks with me about what she's trying to do, and even some of the things that she's trying to do differently. And whenever our mother would see us do things differently, she took it as an insult, right? As a slap in the
It,
face that
it
we
became an argument.
yeah,
She
it
turned
became
it
an argument, right?
immediately.
And,
It was
and
a, yeah, it was, oh,
yeah, and she'd say things like, "Well, you would have gotten a spanking for that, or you would have gotten your hand slapped for that," implying that we weren't parenting appropriately the way she did. And I get to watch Michael do just the most amazing things, and I'm taking my lead from her, right? I'm listening to how she talks to our grandson, and trying to follow some of the things that she's doing, and it just makes me so happy. It's a joyful thing to watch her be such a good parent. And I get choked up again, starting to talk about it again. I remember in the conversation, I looked right at you and I said, I look at her and I say, I did that. I gave that to her. I
yeah.
gave her the freedom to do that. And I just started bawling. And then you started bawling. And we just sat
Oh,
there at
yeah.
the table for what felt like forever, just crying and holding hands. It's like
Yeah. I just let
that,
it out.
that was, that meant so much to us.
Absolutely.
Now, we originally we were motivated by trying to protect our children, but even now, it's still, to me, so much about them and their journey and making the path lighter for them, um,
Absolutely.
at least as much as it is about improving my own well-being.
Absolutely.
It, it's so many more rays of light out there in the world, right?
Absolutely.
Us and
Yeah.
them and their children and the people they come in contact with, and
Yeah.
it just that hit me very powerfully as we've been working on this book.
Yeah. It was. I mean, and that's what this is all about. It's about, it's about our own healing and that journey. But yeah, it's about making the world a better place for not just our children, but to help others find their way too.
Right.
And and to give yourself permission to speak your truth and be who you are without apologizing, and to release that shame that you've been carrying around, because goodness knows you and I have carried a lot of that
Yeah.
through the years. And
And it's still not all gone, It's still,
yeah.
there's always more healing available to us. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Yeah,
But this is
and
it.
we don't have all the answers, that's for darn sure.
Oh, no, no, no,
Sure
no.
have, but we sure have learned a lot along the
We
way.
have. We have.
And
And really, the whole telling of our story is that what helped us was to hear other people talk or to read about other people's experiences and say, oh my God, that's what happened in my family. And in some cases, we had no idea, like we hear about things, we'd have no idea that they were actually problems or you know, could have a negative impact on us, because one of the things that families with addiction and abuse problems do is they tell themselves stories, lies about who they really are and what
right,
certain behaviors really mean, right? This is actually about love. No, no, it's not. It's not. That's not a loving thing to do. Um, and so we just want to be out there, one of the people telling their stories, because there are a lot of us doing this, right? There are a lot of people trying to help in this way, but not every story reaches every person, and not every story touches every person. And so I know there's got to be, I know, we already know that there are a few people out there that we actually have reached outside of our family that have have benefited from what we've done. And that's all that matters, really.
Absolutely.
That's why we persevere through the technological challenges. That's why that's why, that's why we do, because and actually to be perfectly honest, there has been more than one occasion where in my utter frustration I said to you, I feel like the universe is telling me we shouldn't be doing this. It's like one obstacle after another. And I was just me sort of raging in the moment. I know that's not true. I really don't feel that that's true. If it sometimes felt like it might be true, but I really do think that we are supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
And it has brought us at least as much healing as it's bringing anybody else who's listening to it. It really has.
Yeah.
So
we're grateful for anyone that is being touched by this. We really are.
Yeah.
And we hope that you will stay tuned for season 2, which will start after the new year when we get our book.
Yeah, probably not before that, because we were thinking we probably need a month or two to focus on the book, and by the time you do that, it's Thanksgiving, and so we probably are talking about the new year. I hate to go that long without podcasting because again, I don't, as my husband lovingly says when I would get stressed about, oh no, are we going to have a podcast ready to go out this week? He would say, sweetheart, you don't have that many listeners to disappoint, so don't worry about it. He meant it with love, right? Don't stress, don't worry.
Right.
So yeah. So we do want to come back to, because we do have a lot more to say. Amazingly, you might be surprised. We've talked so much, but we do have a lot more to talk about. There's so many people that we've followed or we've read their books, and in particular they've had an approach or something that's really been useful to us, and we want to give them kind of a spotlight. And so we have at least 8 or 10 that we want to do. And my daughter Michael so far is the only kid who's come on and had a chance to talk about her perspective and watching us and being part of this and the impact it had on her. And we'd like to afford your children that same opportunity. We just aren't together, as much. So we want to work that out for the second season if they want to do that. So we do have a lot more, we think, to say that will be of interest and helpful. So preview of coming attractions.
There you go.
Anything else we want to say to the 7 listeners before we sign off?
No, just I hope that you are taking good care of yourselves and
yes,
be well.
Right, absolutely. So until our next podcast or you see our book out, we are wishing you so much light and love, and we want you to know we are grateful for our connection to you through this adventure.
It's an honor and a privilege.
It is.
You many, many blessings.
So many blessings.
Yes.
Next time.
All right. Bye.